I'm just playing interim host here, so I'm going to turn it right over to Gary W9XT, and he can talk about tonight's meeting and presentation.
Okay, well, when Pat mentioned that he had booked Tim Duffy K3LR to speak tonight, I was very excited. I've known Tim for probably 30 some years. And he really stands out in the world of ham radio for his accomplishments, but not just that he's done it, but at so many different levels, both in service to the hobby professionally and his personal accomplishments in radio. As an ambassador in service to the hobby, he's been a fixture at the Hamvention for decades, organizing many events. One of my favorites is he's the moderator of the Antenna Forum, but he also does a contest dinner, contest super suite, top band dinner, and contest university. Any one of these would be a big deal, but he does them all every year. He has past and present important positions at other organizations, include the Worldwide Radio Operators Foundation, Radio Club of America, and the director on the board of the ARL Foundation. Some of his many awards, I'm sure I'm missing a ton of them, are the CQ Contest Hall of Fame, Hamvention Amateur of the Year, the Barry Goldwater Amateur Radio Service Award, and the ASME Excellence Award. And in recent years, he's put in a lot of effort into promoting ham radio to the youth, which is, of course, critical to the future of amateur radio. Professionally, he's the CEO of DX Engineering, one of the largest ham radio dealers. When Tim went to DX Engineering, he had a big point of bringing in some of the smaller niche manufacturers into their product line. So DX Engineering doesn't just deal with Yaesu and ICOM and Unified Microsystems, Swinger, Wisconsin's largest ham radio dealer, but also some of the smaller guys too. Personally, Tim has built K3LR into one of the largest and most best super multi-operator contest stations in the world. There's 11 operator positions and 13 towers, and it's always a treat to hear Tim talk about his station because of the detail he puts, the attention to detail he puts into everything. You'd think that with all that's going on, he wouldn't have time for anything else, but several times a week he gives talks to small clubs like ours, the Ozaki Radio Club. So we're honored to have Tim with us tonight. Tim, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Gary, and thanks for the kind invitation to join your club here tonight via Zoom. As Gary said, I give somewhere between 4 and 5 talks a week now, all over the world. Recently, I was in Australia last week, so I'm just very thankful to talk to clubs, which is the backbone of this hobby that I've loved for almost 50 years now. I believe the topic that was selected was contesting tonight, Gary. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so we won't be talking about K3LR. This is not a green screen back here. This is the real deal. But I don't know if we've had the K3LR presentation to your club, Gary, but at some point we might want to do that. It is 167 slides that goes by in 30 minutes. So you have to put on your seatbelt for that one. But let's get with the program here tonight. I'm going to share my screen, and please let me know when you see my slides.
That's good.
Okay, great. Thank you, Gary. We're going to talk about contesting tonight, which is one of many facets within amateur radio. There's lots of things you can do. You can work CW, you can rag chew, you can get on repeaters, and contesting is just one of many things, a hobby within the hobby. And so we're going to talk about having fun with contesting. And it doesn't matter if you're a big gun or a little pistol. You know, a station like AB5K has the large towers, lots of antennas, but WB0YEA, who has a Hustler vertical in the backyard, can work contests too. He can have a lot of fun working contests. And the predominant stations are low power with simple antenna stations. And the great thing is you can work a ton of people during contests, which normally occur on the weekends. And so the things that I'm going to cover tonight are some contesting resources, how to win a contest, getting started in contesting, and what kind of ham enters a contest. And in the Midwest, you're familiar with WB9Z, and Jerry is a great contester, and he really gets going. Here's WB9Z in action, and the most often you're a casual contester, which is just to get on the air, have fun, maybe improve your operating skills. Maybe you want to work on your Worked All States awards, maybe 5-band Worked All States. Maybe you want to work all the counties in the United States, or maybe look for new countries. So that's the casual contester, and that is the largest percentage of people that are on in a contest. And then there's the feisty contester, and they like to participate and compete. And a lot of times they like to add their score to a club entry. And then there's the WB9Zs of the world, which are able to leap tall buildings, and they don't sleep at all, and they just can't get enough radio. So what are the benefits of contesting? It is a really good use of the spectrum. You know, you think about VHF contests, and a lot of times you don't hear much on VHF, especially sideband and CW, if you're not operating in a contest. So it is really important that the spectrum be used, and of course, it improves operating skills. And I'll tell you, during an emergency situation, maybe a hurricane or an earthquake, I want to have contesters on both ends of the circuit, because I know contesters will get it right, be efficient, and get it fast. And it is fun. You think about field day. Well, field day occurs, you know, the event of operating in a contest occurs every weekend. For instance, this coming weekend is the Worked All Europe CW contest. It's also the Maryland, DC QSO party, as well as Kentucky Parks on the Air, which really isn't a contest, but it is an activity that you can have fun doing. And so you ask yourself, do you have a contest station? If you have an HF or a VHF station, you have a contest station, because you can operate in a contest. There are categories for low power, sometimes even categories for simple antennas. And there are plenty of big gun contest stations. And there's always the chance, if you want to go to a bigger station, to be a guest operator. And so here's the secret: how to win a contest. Well, you have to work a lot of stations, and typically working as many multipliers as possible is also a good thing. You have to work smart. And by working smart, you have, you know, it's good to make a plan ahead of time so that you make good band change decisions and that you have efficient operating techniques. And what do I mean by that? You don't waste time or words. So, you know, this is very similar to emergency operations. You know, in a contest, it's all about working stations fast. There are two modes. One is to run stations, which is typically more profitable, and then also search and pounce, where you're tuning around for stations to work. And then in many contests, you have to take some off time. So you have to know when to take a break. Let's talk about the efficient techniques. You want to spend a lot of time listening to other stations in a contest that are doing it right. And it will become apparent to you and obvious the stations that have it all put together. And simple things can make a big difference. Things like just decreasing the number of words on CW. For instance, instead of CQ test DE into UT, you have test into UT. And that can save a lot of time that will allow you to work more stations. On phone, you want to say like, thanks, Victor Papa 5 Kilo. Instead of thank you, QRZ contest, this is Victor Papa 5 Kilo. And the number one efficient technique is to not say, please copy. On field day, that seems to be a very popular thing to do. Please copy 3A Illinois or 2A Wisconsin. Of course I'm going to copy it, but don't say, please copy, because you just wasted time. There are many different types of contests. The ARRL has a DX contest, and CQ Magazine has the CQ Worldwide. There are national contests like Field Day. And some people will say, well, Field Day is not a contest. Well, here's the thing. Field Day has two tests that make it a contest. Number one, it has rules. That makes it a contest. Number two, you keep score. That makes it a contest. And so we can call it an operating event that is a contest. And it is by far the most popular contest. And Field Day in 1972 is what hooked me on contesting, where I was the novice station. And I haven't looked back since. The ARRL sweepstakes, very popular in November, one weekend for CW, one weekend for phone. The North American QSO party, very popular. This past weekend was the NAQP on CW. VHF UHF contest, really, really popular. The ARRL has 3 of them. And they also have some specialized UHF contests as well. And CQ Magazine has a VHF contest. State QSO parties, very, very popular, and a really good place to get started as well. And then there's things like the sprints and straight key night, etc. And, it doesn't matter whether you're a beginner or an expert. There are all kinds of contests that you can take part in. Maybe you just like 10 meters. And there's the ARRL 10 meter contest. So during the year, lots of things that are going on. And so from a category standpoint, you can operate in the single operator. Many contests have it where you're assisted or unassisted. Power levels like QRP at 5 watts, 100 watts, low power, and then 1500 watts or less would be high power. Some contests have single band or single mode. And there's also very popular entries in multi-operator where you have one transmitter active or multiple transmitters active. Contests are most likely on the weekends, but there are particular contests during the week as well. And starting and ending times do vary. So you have to check the resources like WA7 BNM. That's my favorite resource for knowing what kinds of contests are on. Whiskey Alpha 7, Bravo Norway Mike. There are contests that are as long as 48 hours. And also some contests do have off times. So best to check the rules. There are online resources. The ARRL has a ton of them. And so just go to arrl.org. And also the ARRL publishes a great newsletter every 2 weeks called the Contest Update. And that goes to 100,000 people that have signed up for that newsletter. It's really, really good. It's written by Brian, N9ADG. There's also a lot of resources on contesting.com. And you just go to contesting.com, a lot of contesting resources there. Also, the National Contest Journal at ncjweb.com. And What are the best contests for starting out? Field day, straight key nights, and the state QSO parties. And almost every weekend there is a state QSO party. So what's required to get started? A radio and antenna, a logging system. You can use pencil and paper, but most people use the computer-based logging software. N1MM is free. It is by far the most popular contest logging software. WriteLog, N3FJP, WinTest, that's what I use here at K3LR. I've used it since 2006 and works very well. And these software packages can even trigger pre-recorded voice, CW or RTTY exchanges. Most of these logging softwares also allow you to hook up to your radio so that you can do logging automation. And it makes it easy to watch the spotting networks and do point and shoot assisted operation. And also you can trigger transmitted exchanges. So once you're done with the contest, some sponsors will still allow you to mail it in. Many sponsors now want you to email or do a cut and paste of your Cabrillo file, which is the file generated by most of the logging programs. And Cabrillo is the standard. And then unofficially also post to 3830scores.com or on the air live on 3830. And what can you win? Well, trophies, plaques, certificates. Sometimes, like in the Washington State QSO party, you can receive smoked salmon, and you get the awe and respect of your fellow competitors. So it's always good to get an ARRL club local help for learning more. My home contest club is the North Coast Contesters, but up in New England, it's the Yankee Clipper Contest Club. Where you guys are, the Society of Midwest Operators are available at Contest Club, and SMC is a great contest club and would be there to help you. There's also informal groups and email reflectors, and also things on Yahoo groups. The CQ Contest Reflector is very large and has a lot of help as well. So that is my slide presentation this evening, and I am available for any questions you might have.
I have a question. My name is Jeff, W9KW, and I'm proud to have purchased at least one of the operating positions there through my patronage at DX Engineering. But I have a question about CW. So I have a remote station. I'm very happy with it. I struggle with CW over the remote station. Do you have any thoughts that way? Just broad thoughts. I'm not looking for a specific solution, but just some broad sort of thoughts on remote CW for contests.
Jeff, and thanks so much for your business. And I hope that we have taken care of you very well. Just the only thing I can say about remote CW operation is that it's not hard to do, but you want to make sure that it sounds good and that you're a good operator as a result. So many times, I mean, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. And so you want to make sure that you sound sharp on the air, and it's okay to go slow. Nothing wrong with that at all. As you get more confidence, you can speed up, but make sure it sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Tim, this is Michael, Whiskey Hotel 6 Zulu Zulu. Got a question about QSL cards. So in addition to all the normal logging that one does, how common or uncommon is it to exchange QSL cards during the contests?
I think it's very common. And there are a variety of ways to do it, Michael. I can speak personally, I upload the K3LR log to LOTW within 24 hours of the contest, and I'm a big believer in LOTW. I also send out paper cards to all the DX stations that we work, and then any cards that come in from the US and Canada, or anywhere that come in via the US mail, within 24 hours, I turn those around, and you don't need an SASE and things like that. But as LOTW has become more and more prevalent, the number of paper cards that I get in the mail is much less. But I just got a box of paper cards from the Bureau today. I think the L manager for the 3-land Bureau, which he's located in Missouri now, he told me that there were 2,000 cards in there. And when I drove home today, in the box, I saw that the mailbox was open. And so here are the cards, and it's starting to rain. And you know, in the middle of the pouring rain, I took that box, put it underneath my shirt, ran it into the house, took it apart, and made sure that the cards are dry. QSL cards and I have a thing going back almost 50 years. And I think most hams still feel that way, that the paper cards are still very, very special, but LOTW is great. Any other questions? Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Great presentation.
Well, Gary, we may have gone through the questions, and certainly if somebody thinks about a question later on, you can always email me. You go to my website, k3lr.com, and there's a button there. It says email K3LR, and I will do my best to get back to you within a day. And Gary, thanks so much for allowing me to speak to your club tonight. And also that to those of you who are DX Engineering customers, thank you so much for your business. To those of you who are not, give us a try. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised how fast we ship, and you know, how well we can answer your questions and take care of your needs. And you know, I'd like to be your one-stop shop. So thank you again, Gary. Back over to you.
Okay, thanks, Tim. Well, actually, it was Pat, our president, who has organized this, and the other Gary is going to be running the meeting since Pat doesn't have a good connection tonight. But on behalf of the club, I really appreciate you stopping by and speaking to us tonight.
Okay, thanks, Gary.